Thank you very much, Emily Otto, for accepting a nomination for a Rising Phoenix Award.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Um, I would love to hear you tell a little bit of your story about your transition. Some of the things that you went through that were real challenges and how you overcame them.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's hard to think about where to start.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to work my way out of corporate America for at least the last 10 years.
Okay.
Big changes in transition really came um, really with the birth of my son and all of the problems that he went through in early life and together. So he was born with multiple congenital heart defects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and had to
That's hard.
have two open heart surgeries and a pacemaker
Mm.
6 months old.
Wow. Wow, that's just such a rough start for both of you.
It was really intense
Yeah.
and unexpected. My original plan was, build my business, get ready, and have baby, quit job, never come back. And it became really clear that we needed the health insurance and the
Yeah.
stability that could provide. In 2018, I think our total medical cost was $500,000.
Holy cow, that's amazing. Yeah, good thing
Yeah.
you had the insurance.
Yeah, it's one of those things we shouldn't have to worry about. But in that moment, you think, "Oh my gosh, how is this? How much is this going to cost?" And then
Yeah.
luckily, there's a cap, thanks to Obama, as to how much it can cost an individual human as long as you have health insurance.
Right. Right. Before that happened, you were already thinking about getting out of corporate America. Can you take us back there a little bit and just talk about what was
Yeah,
going on in your head and why you wanted out?
yeah. Just for probably the last 10 years, really when I started my yoga practice and became a yoga teacher,
Yeah.
I started feeling my body more and realizing that I don't think it has to be this way. I don't think life is supposed to be this way. It
Right.
shouldn't be stressed out, constantly running on a hamster wheel, afraid your boss is going to call you into their office, um, running up against deadlines all the time to do something that your heart isn't in. Like, that doesn't make any sense as to
Right.
why we're spending our time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So for at least the last five, I started training in different things. I trained in Thai body work and shiatsu body work. I thought about going back to school to become a therapist or an
Right.
acupuncturist, and just decided that it wasn't worth the debt to do
Yeah.
that again.
Right.
Because just before my son was born, I finally finished paying off my student loans.
Okay. All right.
It was about $70,000 in total.
Wow.
So yeah,
Mm.
but I didn't like the idea of going back to school to get more student loans, then work a job I don't want to pay them off. That roller coaster didn't make sense.
Yeah, that's a rough cycle. I mean, there's a lot of us can relate to that, though.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it is a good option to go back to school, but for me, that just didn't make sense.
Right.
And so I thought, okay, well, with the education that I already have, so I have a master's degree in psychology, and I thought, what else can I do to be of service? What do I know? So I went through a couple different online programs with mentors and realized, oh, I can help people do what I'm doing,
Right.
which is making a quitting plan, reducing their debt to income ratios, getting less in their day to day, so that when you finally quit, you're not still in that stress cycle all the time.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so then you've been through this. You've made the decision you're going to do something different. You've explored a couple of different paths, and then with the birth of Cedar, you've decided, okay, now I got to do something completely different. So
Yeah.
talk about a little bit how you move forward and what kind of challenges did you run into there?
Oh man. So as I mentioned, he had two open heart surgeries and a pacemaker,
Right.
and that was probably about 20 days in the hospital over the course of that year. And I realized there's no way I can take care of a baby, work full time, and create a side hustle. Like
Right.
there's no way.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I can study and learn on the side, and then make a quitting plan and make a date that I'm going to quit by. The problem is that left to my own devices, I would just keep working and say, well, but just a little bit more money, just pay off one more thing.
Yep.
And yeah, my husband thankfully realized that and kept pushing me to quit.
Okay.
And that's actually one of the reasons he chose to get into construction and build his own business with his uncle, was to provide more stability,
Sure.
that I could quit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's definitely a joint effort.
Yep. Counter's a blessing for sure.
Yeah,
All right.
he's
So,
great.
what did you decide to do then?
So I made a date and I kept pushing it off. I kept saying, okay, well, just till the end of the year for the insurance.
Right.
Well, but we might, Cedar's definitely going to need more surgeries, more heart surgeries, and
Right.
we're not sure when. So I should carry it just a little longer, or maybe pay off the car, or build up more in savings. And then finally, I realized I just kept getting sick. I had a couple upper respiratory infections back to back, a couple
Right.
of rounds of antibiotics, which I
Yeah.
never take,
Yeah.
and I thought this job is making me sick,
Yeah.
and I need to quit.
Yep. You're
So
getting that sign.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was time. So I decided, okay, let's go to Burning Man.
Okay.
And it was the first time Connor went with me, and
Yeah.
my fourth year. And I thought, let's go to Burning Man, and I'm gonna make that my quit date. I'm gonna quit right before Burning Man, go and have this epic 2 week adventure, and then come back and start my new life.
All
Do
right.
do.
All right.
So yeah, so I did that in August. Quit my job, went to Burning Man, came back, and Cedar's in daycare 2 days a week, so I can focus on building my business, and
Uh-huh.
I'm taking care of him the rest of the time. So
Right on. Right on. All
yeah,
right. Well, then that's the primary gig, and I have to know a little bit about corporate rebel as well, and some of the things you're trying to do there. So, can you tell us about that?
yeah. So basically, I just really, even though I got out, I didn't feel good. I wanted to help other people get out too, because it's really hard when you're in it, and you're in corporate America, and you're having those water cooler talks with people,
Yeah.
and everybody just says, well, it sucks, but it could be worse, and
Yeah.
we've got health insurance and a steady paycheck, and we've got to keep doing this until we retire.
Right. All right.
But just for a lot of people in my age range, it's the idea of retirement just really doesn't even exist.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, so I thought, okay, I want to build a business that works for my life. So right now, I want to be home with my kiddo as much as possible.
Sure.
But I want to build an online business, but one that's really personable, helps people craft unique solutions to their unique lives.
Sure.
So I built my programs around that. I kind of have like a three-tiered structure of doing a one-on-one call with people through a clarity call, and then I have a 30-day quitting plan program and a 3-month mentorship program to really hold people's hands and give them strategies and tools to reduce their stress while they're making the plan and working on figuring out what they want to do with their lives.
Oh, that's such a big deal, Emily. Well,
Thank
for
you.
you talk about the water cooler talks, right? And I think I've been through something similar myself. But people talk about wanting to get out, but they don't have the guts to give up the handcuffs. They don't have
Yeah.
the vision to see how they could get there, and a lot of times they don't have the opportunities because of life situations to give up some of the things that corporate America locks you into.
Well,
So for you to give them the hope and the vision and a way to start seeing a path forward is a really big deal.
thank you.
You're welcome. So when people want to jump out and they've got all these other responsibilities, sometimes just straight up jumping out ain't an option for some people. So
Yeah.
sometimes walking the dual path might be an option. What do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a big thing I talk to people about is if they're working with me, they're already not the type of person who can just quit tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's reasons they're in their job.
Yeah.
And so, for in my case, health insurance was very critical for Cedar. But there happens to be a state of Michigan program that will cover his heart condition until he's 21.
Okay. All right.
So there's a lot of different creative ways to figure out how to do what you love. Maybe you can reduce your hours at your corporate job. Maybe you can ease off the work there a little bit. I talk about a principle called giving 75% or less to your day job.
Yeah.
So don't give them all of your energy and attention. Really pull that back in, whether that's to do a side project you love or learn something, or even if it's something as simple as like a weekly yoga class or a weekly volunteer effort that you're really into. There's a lot of different ways to refocus that energy. Um,
Mm,
'Cause the draining corporate job it's always going to be the same. I
yeah.
thought if I worked for different people, different companies, it would change, but it's like the same crap, different situation.
Yeah, they're all trying to get the most they can out of you for the least amount of money. So they send you
Yeah,
home with laptops, and you end up being, plugged in through smartphones almost all day long. And there are no
yeah.
boundaries.
No, there's no boundaries, and they you feel guilty if you're not doing a ton of work. You feel guilty if you're not running yourself into the ground, and it's crazy making.
Yeah,
Um, programs. That's why my first principle is really focused on reducing stress and anxiety,
yeah.
because, like you mentioned with boundaries, so creating those boundaries and reducing stress and anxiety in our day to day, the only way to then make this systemic change for how people are doing their jobs, how we're thinking about work in the world and making money and an income. How much do we really need?
Mm.
Um, can we work part time with, and can you work part time on the thing that you love doing? Like, there's a lot of different ways to work it out.
What you just said, I think, is also very important, right? Being realistic about what you need, because we get into this consumerism mindset where we have to have all this stuff, and when you go down this path and you start to let go of things, you start to realize that this stuff is holding you back. This stuff is
Mm-hmm.
holding you down, and once you let go of the need to have so much, you could do so many different things with your life.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was a big piece of it for us. So when I quit my job, we cut our incomes more than in half.
yeah,
So figuring out, okay, how do we live with less? What do we really need? How do we not take on more debt? Living within our means
yeah,
and being creative about that.
yeah. Well done.
Thank
Well, let
you.
me ask you a direct question, two direct questions. One is, if somebody wants to know more about Corporate Rebel and Emily Otto, where do they go?
Yeah, so they should go straight to my website. It's www.emily-otto.com.
Mm-hmm.
And super active on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn.